Hello and welcome to the Tongue of the Trees channel. I'm Elizabeth Ashley, the Secret Healer, and today we're going to talk about what is cinnamon essential oil good for. Well, this is an interesting one because he's a scary boy, is our cinnamon. Got some really powerful uses, but yeah, he's quite strong on the old skin. So this is an interesting one, and I'll just show you the Tongue of the Trees card that goes with it. We talk about the emotional, mental and spiritual aspects of the essential oil in video 2. So even though we know, oh, it's to do with trust and learning to trust. Oh, that's interesting. Not going to talk about it here. If you want to learn about that, go into the description and you'll see the link for video 2. And it's nothing scary. It's just hosted on my website rather than just on YouTube because it's special stuff. But let's have a think first of all about the physical stuff, because that's what we're interested in first of all. And I'm going to take that from this book. I'm allowed to because I wrote it, The Complete Guide to Clinical Aromatherapy and Essential Oils of the Physical Body. And although this is quite a tome looking very battered and bruised, if you wanted to get this, you can download this free on Amazon, iTunes and all good ebook providers. So I'm going to just go straight to it. So first of all, on the card, I'm going to show you the bit that's coloured in. Can you see that we have coloured cinnamon green? And that is because cinnamon essential oil is cinnamon leaf, not cinnamon bark. Cinnamon bark actually is usually an adulterated oil. It's actually cassia, which is still a tremendous essential oil, but scary stuff. So if you use cassia, you're bound to get some kind of skin burn or, yeah, it's just too much. So this is cinnamon leaf, but it's not ever really labelled that way. So it says in my book, historical successes of this essential oil have included infections, bronchitis, arthritis, and rheumatism. So if you went on to go and buy these Tongue of the Trees cards, they come with a little book. And at the bottom, there's all sorts of stuff about the energetics of the plant. And probably don't even need me to tell you that the energetics of cinnamon is it's warming. And it's warming to hot, which is serious stuff. So a bit like ginger, actually. If you've ever had like ginger tea, suddenly you start, well, I turn into flame woman. Ayurvedic medicine says that it's pitta because, well, you can see pale skin, red hair, classic pitta, very angry, sharp person. And so when we use the essential oil, we can see that it kind of takes us that way. So we see the redness coming out. So that's where your skin problems come in. But the heating element is really useful for things like arthritis and rheumatism, because when is the pain worse? The aches and the pains of rheumatism, arthritis get far worse in the winter. So we're going to put some heat into the joints. So lovely stuff. But also within the confines of the oil, don't know if you know, an essential oil is made up of many different chemical constituents. And so we talk about blending essential oils, don't we, to get a complex aroma. But it's complex in its own right because there's many different chemicals in it. And some of the chemicals in particular are extremely good antivirals, antibacterials, antimicrobials. So if you get coughs and colds, definitely it's an oil to use. Bronchitis in particular. But what's interesting about bronchitis is we have two different types. We can have acute bronchitis, which you catch basically. And you could have up to about 3 months, and it's a nasty chest infection that won't go away. But also you could have chronic bronchitis or COPD, where it's there forever and ever, amen. You can't get rid of it. This awful cough, this difficulty breathing, shortness of breath, which is, well, it's disastrous for the quality of life, really. It makes it hard to walk, makes it hard to go to work, difficult to sleep, because every time you turn over, and just breathing becomes particularly difficult. And for those of you who are newcomers to my screens, I can tell you about that, because I have dodgy lungs. I am classified as a sufferer of COPD, but yeah, I'm healthy. I'm good and healthy. And one of the things, I actually wrote a book about bronchitis, the essential oil bronchitis treatment, that you can find on Amazon. It's got an orange colour, because there are so many of these pitta oils in there, and cinnamon's a very interesting one. And what doesn't come up in the magic book is some of the stuff that I learned while I was doing the research about cinnamon and mould. So cinnamon and cassia and camphor are very show good progress in experiments in laboratories for treating moulds. Now, things like bronchitis are horrifically exacerbated by black moulds in particular. Now, I can tell you that if you wash it down with cinnamon, it's going to come back. I've tried it. I've got terrible mould in my bathroom. Nothing puts it right. So we can clean it all off, but because there's poor ventilation in there, it does come back. But it takes longer to come back. It's definitely a guard. So that's a good way of using cinnamon. Now, interestingly, if you are thinking, well, okay, this is really interesting and I would like to do this, but I don't know how, I do, alongside my partner and co-creator of the Tongue of the Trees Recipe Hub, have a big database of recipes that go with these videos. So we'll put one in there for my mold treatment, for example, how we use cinnamon as an antiviral, as an antimicrobial, and just as a warming treatment as well. And as I say, we'll also look at addressing some of the things we see in video 2 about trust. You know, I'm feeling a bit more dynamic, but that, as I say, that's another video in its own right. So what else do we see in that video 2? Well, we talk much more in depth, as I say, about the emotional, the mental, the spiritual aspects of the essential oil. You'll also see my business partner, Gegle Halodi, who is a fantastic aromatherapist from a different point of view to me. I am more focused on research into science, but he does botanical and perfumery blending. So he'll do a section of how do we use this to blend? What does cinnamon essential oil blend well with? We'll look at that. But most importantly, I think we look at the safety, because there are issues with which drugs it interacts with, because it does. How to use it. It's not normal 3% dilution. If you put 3% cinnamon dilution, you will know about it. So we'll talk about the safety more in depth. Can we use it on kids? Can we use it around the pets? All the safety concerns that you have, we will look at that too. So do come across and have a look as well for the Tongue of the Trees cards, because I'm sure you'll find them interesting to use. I think there's a lot of aromatherapists now getting excited about how this can improve their treatment of clients, because what they do is they're designed to override the conscious mind to look at the subconscious mind and find out how that might be affecting the physical body, especially things like rheumatism and arthritis and bronchitis. So there we go. What is cinnamon essential oil for? We've talked about the physical body. Come and learn the next stage, the stuff for the serious people who really want to know what cinnamon essential oil is good for.